Our next panelist is Paul Eckstein. He is an assistant professor of philosophy at Bergen Community College in Paramus, New Jersey. He is also adjunct lecturer in philosophy at Montclair State University and a host on Equal Time for Free Thought on WBAI. Paul Eckstein.
Massimo suggested that we might actually wind up with three people saying the same thing tonight. And I sort of feel like what's going to happen is he's sort of right and sort of not right. There were differences between Massimo's presentation and Sansara's. Each of them said things that I had planned to say, but not everything I had planned to say. Let me say, first of all, that I spend most of my time teaching philosophy and religion to undergraduates in New Jersey. I actually taught the Euthyphro this morning. In case you had any doubts, you got it right. Okay. For me, let me explain where I stand by telling you a story about what happened when we were organizing this conference. Initially, the leaflets that were produced said something to the effect that there were going to be three atheists talking about this issue of morality and religion. And I said, well, I can't live with that because I don't call myself an atheist. And as I understood through the grapevine, there was some discussion of this, and somebody said, well, he's a non-believer, right? And I said, yeah. Well, then why doesn't he call himself an atheist? And I thought I might clarify that because I think it's an important point, and it touches on important themes that both Massimo and Sansara have already spoken of. The reason that I don't call myself an atheist is because I also come to this issue from what I think of as a Marxist perspective. I'm actually happy to see that there's more than one left, you know? And of course, as Sansara herself suggested, we understand that Marx's attitude towards religious phenomena was a double-edged attitude. It was, as we usually say, a dialectical attitude. The fact is, he understood that it was, as the famous quote goes, the opium of the people. But of course, there's another part to that quote, which is that religion is also the sigh of the oppressed, the soul of a soulless world. In other words, consolation. Now, I agree, in one sense, that people need emancipation, not consolation. But there's a sense in which I disagree, because I don't actually think it's an either-or situation. I think it's a both-and situation. People need consolation and emancipation. And it's very important to be sensitive to this. The fact is that when Massimo talked about biological factors as a source of morality and cultural factors as a source of morality, I was sitting there thinking, yeah, I agree with that, but we got to be a lot more specific about the cultural stuff. And then Sansara came up and she made it more specific. She made it clear that the morality we have and that the morality human beings always have arises from the way in which they live their productive lives. And all of previously existing societies, except perhaps at the earliest level, have been class societies where there are exploiters and exploited. And we all understand this. And the morality that we have and the religion that we have reflects this fact, which is precisely why I don't call myself an atheist. Because the battle for me is not between theism and atheism. The battle for me is between capitalism and an emancipatory social relations. Okay? I think that battle is also a battle that Sansara wants to win. Now, the question then becomes how you do this. And the fact is, I have been quite upset over this very popular new trend called the quote-unquote new atheists. You know, I'm talking about people like Sam Harris and Richard Dawkins, and I guess Chris Hitchens, except he writes on everything, so, you know. But the point is, what has happened in this movement is that it has been suggested that religion is in fact the source of all evil. And furthermore, that there is no difference between, you know, a reactionary kind of religion, a fundamentalist kind of religion, and a more liberal kind of religion. It's suggested even that the liberal kind of religion is doubly guilty because it provides a sense of legitimation for the more reactionary kind of religion. But the fact is, this is only half the story. And all the stuff that Sansara talked about, all of the damaging things that religion has done, are true. And I certainly respect, Matt, your struggles. But the fact is, that is only half the story.